Hey everyone, this is Joe Spicer of StarCrossComics. Today we have a very, very special guest, professional writer and creator of such characters as Nexus, the Badger. He was the writer for Deadman, the Punisher, creator of Microchip. He worked on The Flash. He worked on Star Wars, so many different titles. Mike Barron, and today he is promoting his new title that he has on IndieGoGo called Thin Blue Line. And we have a link in the comments. And we're going to be talking to him about his career briefly and get on his new project, Thin Blue Line. So without further ado, let's begin. Mike, welcome.
Hey, Joe.
Thanks for coming. And we're happy to talk about your new project, Thin Blue Line, now live on IndieGoGo. And we want people to go there and back it. But right before we talk about that, we just wanted to get to know you a little bit. You've had a long professional career in everything, and we just wanted to talk briefly about your work in the industry, what that was like, before this new industry that's emerged, and how you got in, what it was like, what it's like now in contrast, and some of your achievements, and then we'll get in your new project.
Sounds good.
So, what was when you first started out writing? What was it like? Getting work as a writer right at the beginning of your career.
Um, my first job out of college was smoking marijuana for the government. I
For the government.
graduated from the UW and I heard there were newspapers in Boston that would hire anyone who could string two words together. So I moved out there and I answered an ad in the Boston Phoenix. They wanted volunteers to live on a hospital ward for a month, smoke government marijuana, and take tests all day. It was just like college.
Wow.
So I did that. And when I got out, I wrote that up and I sold that article to the Boston Phoenix. And that's how I broke into journalism. I worked on newspapers for 7 years in Boston before moving back to my hometown of Madison, Wisconsin. And in 1981, I met Steve Rude. Uh, and I dreamed up Nexus and I drew the first 12 pages out by hand.
Oh wow.
That's how I wrote comics for many years. I would draw each page out by hand. I'm not a very good artist, but I'm good enough so that anyone can see exactly what I'm drawing. It's not professional, it's all messed up, but there's some half-assed perspective and you can recognize the characters. And I put in all the word balloons and captions.
Wow.
Editors and artists loved it because you could tell at a glance what the page was going to look like, or at least what I was trying to convey. And of course, a good artist would take that and find a better way to show it, and most artists did. I mean, Steve Rude, he occasionally would take my camera angles, but of course, without his genius, Nexus would not be what it is. And we sold that to Capital Comics. We were in the right place at the right time. And
Wow.
they brought out 3 black and white issues before turning to color. And on the strength of that, it spread like wildfire throughout the comic community because they'd never seen anything like it. And because of that, I started to get offers from the majors. And the first big offer, well, DC asked me to write Atari Force. And I was
Yeah,
happy to write that.
I
Hyper,
see Hyper Potato. Yeah,
Hyper
Hyper
Potato.
Potatoes said that he worked on Atari Force. I
Yeah.
remember. So when I was collecting comics back then, I remember seeing the ads, for Atari Force, and I thought it was cool at the time.
Well, it was an honor to work with Jose Luis Garcia Lopez and Ed Bretto and guys like that. But then Carl Potts called me from Marvel and asked me to write The Punisher. because he liked the Badger. And
Wow.
I was made for that series, and I wrote it for over 5 years. And I approached it as a straight crime comic. And for the
Hmm.
first 3 years, there were no superheroics or aliens or robots or anything like that. I was ripping the stories right out of the headlines.
Yeah.
Drug dealers, biker gangs, Jim Jones, stuff like that. And it was well received. I was real happy with that. Then after 3 years, Carl got kicked upstairs and they brought in a new editor who was more of a gimmick guy. And that's when you started to see more of the rest of the Marvel Universe, which I had
Hmm.
no real objection to. It's just that if left to myself, I would have continued on the path that I started, which was a straight crime comic. And occasionally we would feature other Marvel characters, but always in as realistic a manner as possible. And at DC, they asked me to write Flash.
Hmm.
And I wrote Flash number 1 through 13, where Wally West takes over. And then I worked on Action Comics, and because of Action Comics, I kind of backed into Deadman. And I was assigned Kelly Jones on a couple of stories, and I was working with Kelly when I thought this character needs a greater showcase. So I conceived Deadman as a horror character, which had
Yeah.
never been done before. And Kelly was like igniting a nuclear bomb. And that's when Kelly exploded and became the Kelly Jones we know today. And we put out 4 graphic novels, which have been reprinted again and again, including in this giant jumbo size from Graffiti.
Wow.
I have a copy in the closet, and I was real happy with that. I also wrote a number of titles for Valiant,
That's
and
right.
when Capital went under, they sold the rights to Nexus and Badger to First Comics. Mike Richardson of Dark Horse bought the rights to Nexus, and in an act that's been unprecedented before or since, he returned the rights to Steve Root and I.
Okay.
So we own Nexus outright, and we could do whatever we like with him. First
That's
Comics
awesome.
still owns Badger, uh, and
Okay.
there's I want to do more Badger comics, but I have to go through First, and they're kind
Hmm.
of sclerotic at this point, so it's hard to get new Badger projects out. But I will eventually. They will approve them after I show them the scripts first, and I have a whopper coming up next, which is based on the Badger novel I wrote, which I did with First's approval, and I thank them for that. And I think it's
Wow.
the best Badger story ever written. I can't wait to get to it. In fact, I've already started, but I'm so involved in other projects right now, I haven't been able to give it the attention it deserves.
Right.
I'm writing The Saints for Allegiance. I'm writing a title called 2084 for Encode Graphics. And I'm working on my own projects such as Florida Man and Thin Blue Line.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I seen Florida Man too. That's cool. And now is are you doing more with Florida Man?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
just getting started. Did you see the first graphic novel?
Yeah. I did.
All right. The second one is twice as funny.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. No. Well, I want to talk about Thin Blue Line, but I want to touch on some of your past work. Um, so what was the industry like back then? So you were doing Punisher at Marvel, you were doing Flash at DC, and you did stuff for Dark Horse and some other lower companies, but that are well known. And what what was the vibe like there? That it's completely different now. So
Well,
if you
I lived
walked
in
in as a
Wisconsin.
yeah, if you walked in as a teenager now, they probably wouldn't have any use for you. It's only because of your long career, that you're able to do so much now.
Well, the comics industry doesn't know whether to shit or go blind. It's in a state of free fall for any
Hmm.
number of reasons.
Hmm.
One of the reasons that never gets spoken is the rise of video games,
That's true.
because the fact is that a good video game simply gives you much more enjoyment or bang for your buck than most comics these days. I'm shocked at the low quality of Marvel and DC books that are coming
Hmm.
out. I know because I buy them occasionally and read them.
Sure.
And they forgot the number one rule of comics, which is people want entertainment. They buy
Yeah.
the comic to be entertained, to be told a gripping story, uh, and let their imagination run wild and think, yeah, that's a great story. Yeah.
Exactly.
And geez, I don't know what to say. I don't read that many comics
Hmm.
these days, mostly comics that friends send me, and comics that are produced outside the mainstream. Uh,
Right.
and another reason that comics are in free fall is because the distribution system is collapsing.
Hmm.
As you know, there used to be two huge distributors,
Yep.
Capital Comics and Diamond.
Yep.
And then Diamond bought out Capital. It was just Diamond for
Hmm.
a long time. And even though they were a monopoly, they did a pretty good job of getting the books out to shops. But now there are three or four distributors, and I'm hearing complaints
Yeah.
about Penguin, for example, which is
Hmm.
distributing comics. And I've seen pictures from retailers who show how their books
Oh.
arrive from Penguin with
Oh.
all the corners dented because they're not packed very carefully. And that's another problem. And as a result of all these problems, not the least of which is unentertaining content,
Hmm.
you've seen the rise of alternative books and Comicsgate.
Hmm.
And Comicsgate exists because the major companies weren't doing their job, which is to entertain.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying all of Comicsgate is good, but
Hmm.
Comicsgate is a big umbrella. And there are a lot of good books in there, a lot of so-so books, but at least
Hmm.
people are allowed to succeed or fail on their own with their unique visions.
That's yeah, that's very interesting, and I agree with all that. Um, Now, to touch on Thin Blue Line, what was it like? So Thin Blue Line, let's intro this correctly. So I'm going to screen share here, and I'm going to put the
Can you
video
play the
on.
video?
Yep, I'm going to. So let's see. We're going to go share screen. All right. And get Thin Blue Line on. Okay.
Beginning with issue number 1, Mike Barron wrote Marvel's The Punisher for over 5 years, approaching it as a straight crime comic, without any superheroes, aliens, or robots. Over the course of 60 issues, Barron elevated the gritty anti-hero into one of the most popular and enduring characters in the Marvel Comics universe. Now he brings that same ultra-realistic intensity to his latest graphic novel, Thin Blue Line. In the middle of a long, hot summer, a police shooting ignites a city. Activists, opportunists, and provocateurs descend to riot, loot, burn, and kill. Thin Blue Line follows Officer Valeria Baca and her partner as their detail guarding the mayor turns into a battle for survival. Ride along on this harrowing tale of two brave law enforcement officers fighting for their community and their own survival in a world gone mad. Eisner winner Mike Barron has created an alarming tale that unflinchingly examines human fallibility on every level. Along with penciler Joe Arnold, himself a full-time police officer, and talented anchor Jeff Slemons, they've created a moving and entertaining story ripped straight from today's headlines. Thin Blue Line exposes the defund the police movement and its consequences for society, but several comic book companies have refused to publish it. Now we're asking you to join the effort to distribute it independently and help support the men and women of law enforcement. Get your copy of the only graphic novel to offer an unflinching and not always flattering look at the men and women of law enforcement during a time when we need them the most. Not all heroes wear capes. It's a thin blue line between the rule of law and a world of chaos. Which side are you on? Thin Blue Line by Mike Barron. Order now on IndieGoGo.
That was great. Now let's go through the let me go through the a little bit of your campaign.
Before you do that, I
Yeah.
want to say something about the book,
Okay.
which is that my first job is to entertain, and I never lose sight of that fact. I think this is one of the most gripping stories I've ever written. There is no preaching, there are no condescending speeches. It's all story. You're going to love the characters, you're going to get wrapped up in them, you're going to care about what happens to them, and you won't be able to wait to turn the page because the essential question in all fiction is what happens next? And unless the reader cares, they're not going to turn the page. I guarantee you, you will care about this story.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm very curious to find out what was it like to go from The Punisher to a book like this, where it's, instead of a vigilante, you have law enforcement.
Well, The Punisher, uh, because it was a comic book, and this was 30 years ago,
Hmm.
we took liberties with reality, and we had things happen that might bend the laws of physics or the law itself a little more than it was intended. But everything in Thin Blue Line could happen. I'm at a point in my life where, for me to really enjoy a book or a movie, I have to believe that it could really happen. And this means that works of fiction, uh, I have to believe that they could happen. So, something like John Wick, I enjoy John Wick, but I don't for one
Hmm.
second believe it could actually happen, as opposed to a great action movie like The Equalizer, starring Denzel Washington,
Yeah, that's a
which
great
is
movie.
one of my favorite movies.
Hmm.
And I believe that could happen. And you will believe everything in this story could actually happen. There's nothing outrageous about it. I mean, there's a lot that's outrageous about it, but there's nothing that strains your credulity. It could all happen. And so much of it has already happened, and that's in the book too.
Oh, that's great. So we're looking here, and it looks like the featured tier is the Officer Assist whole package. $121 gets. Let's see.
I think with that one, you get drawn into the book and you may appear on a post
Oh,
office
nice.
wall.
Oh, wow. Nice. So we got the digital only for 10. We got the print version is 25. And how many pages? It's 56
It's
pages.
56 pages.
It's a
25 bucks
lot.
might sound like a lot for a graphic novel, but again, I have to tell you
56 pages.
that this is a book that delivers. It's a book you're going to love, and
Hmm.
you're going to want to read it over and over and hand it to your friends. It's not a book that you're going to flip through and you say, "Yeah, the art is nice. The art is nice. It's too bad I don't believe any of this story." Or
Okay.
else, they're you see, I don't know if you've seen that X-Men page that's been going around, but there a couple of X-Men are squeezed down at the bottom of the page, and there's 18 word balloons on top with this
Oh,
long. Have you seen that?
I think I have.
Yeah.
Wow. And you used to letter too. Well, you
No,
kind
no,
of,
no. I never lettered.
but you would put them. You said
Oh
you
yeah,
would put
I'd
that in
letter
your
my
layouts.
hand drawn comic
Yeah.
book pages, and
Yeah.
that's how I wrote them for 15
Yeah.
years.
But you would never have that in one of your pages.
No, and
No.
that's one of the reasons that I think that my method of writing a comic is a great method to learn how to write comics, because you'll see just how much weight a page can bear. And if your
Yeah.
hand is cramping up because you're writing hundreds of words of dialogue on the page, you might be doing something wrong,
Oh, wow.
because comics are a visual medium,
Yep.
and I have three rules of writing. One is it's my job to entertain, and I never lose sight of that fact, and I try to make every square centimeter of that comic entertaining. No
That's
wasted
right.
space, no marking time. Number two is show, don't tell. Now,
Hmm.
that seems so simple on the face of it, but apparently it's not, since most comics fail that simple measure. And number three is to be original, which means that we're all unique human beings. And when we really master the art of writing, we invariably bring our own impressions of the world into it. But of course, writing is also an act of imagination, and the writer must be able to imagine every point of view.
Those are great three rules. I mean, we have about 20 creators in Starcross, and they're either the writer and artist or just the writer. So I know a lot of times it's difficult to, you might have somebody who wants to show off their writing ability, and you're like, this is a comic, not a written novel. You're going to be seeing these visuals. You don't need to write all that. So yeah, those were great tips. Um,
Show, don't tell also applies
mhm,
to straight prose.
mhm.
And all the best writers know how to visualize a scene so that you feel it. Whenever I have a character enter a scene, I ask myself, what does he see? What does he hear? What does he smell? What does
Wow.
he feel? and you use those elements to make it real. And all the best writers do that. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that you describe it very well. That's awesome. The now and then we got the signed autograph bundle for 50.
Oh, Jeff, I'm on a show. I'll call you back. Yeah,
That happens all the time. We got the autograph bundle for 50, and that's yours. Are you signing it and the artist?
Jeff, Joe, and I. And
Okay.
Jeff Slemons, who just called me now,
Okay.
is a great artist in his own right. Just go to jeffslemons.com and take a look.
Oh, awesome. So let's see. Now we have the retailer pack, so that's 5 copies, 85. And that's for stores. Now I noticed you're showing the Lady Cop book. Is that kind of
That's
a
just for contrast and
yeah?
nostalgia,
Yep.
to show how far comics have come. Chris found that.
Okay.
Chris Brawley is running our campaign. Chris put that video together, and he got
Yeah, it's
Sam
nice.
Elliott to narrate it, and I think that was quite a cool.
Okay. Cool. No, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good.
Yes. I don't know if that
Wow.
it's not really Sam Elliott, but it
Okay.
sounds just like him.
Okay. Now I got looks like the original art pages,
Yeah,
450. So there's a few. Oh, okay. 1 out of 4 are claimed. Okay. Okay. So there's 3 left.
yeah, and you guys take a look at Jeff Slemmon's page. Jeff's
Yeah.
art is in great demand. He can do anything. Take a look at his fine art. Take a look at his comic art. It's just unbelievable. JeffSlemmons.com.
Okay. We'll post that. And looks like, and then to appear in the book, 1,500. So they're gonna be a mugshot, or yeah, it's gonna be
Well, we'll
somebody in
ask
the.
them if
Mhm.
beforehand, because some people might not want to be portrayed as part of the
Okay.
mob, but we have enough characters in the book that we can make you an upstanding citizen or whatever.
Nice. Nice. Looks like some more pages here. So it looks like some fight training.
Yeah, jujitsu. And
Yep.
one of the things we pride ourselves on is showing martial arts in a realistic and dynamic manner. One of the things that always bugged
Cool.
me growing up was in magazines like Karate Kid and Kung Fu, uh, they had martial arts in the title, but there were no martial arts in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Because martial arts is not a big fist swinging around and striking a face in close up. Martial arts is a series of techniques that unfold in real time, that we want to show how that technique develops. It's more than just punches and kicks. There are joint locks, there are
Mm-hmm.
throws, and we show how the antagonists get into position to perform these techniques so that the leverage is right, the weight is right, the positioning is right.
Wow.
And Joe, our artist, uh, is a black belt in jujitsu, so he knows exactly how this goes, and he drew the scenes out very well. That's a good example of one.
Wow. Yeah, it's so crazy that he's a police officer, but he can draw comic pages this well, you
Well,
know?
Joe was drawing long before he became a police officer.
Okay. Oh, wow. And how you just happened to discover him, or did you know him prior?
I don't know how Joe and I met, but
Okay.
over 10 years ago, we used to have monthly comic meetings at my house, and I'd have all the folks in town that were into comics. And Gabe Eltaib was one of them. And you may know Gabe today as a
Hmm.
colorist who just quit DC in disgust.
Wow.
And Gabe is working on his own book, and I've seen it, and it's marvelous. It's just funny that we were all here together in Fort Collins, and now Joe is making his mark with this book.
Oh, that's awesome that you guys got to all team up on this project. And then, yep, and here's some of your prior work. And yep, there's the artist. And what does Jeff do? Oh, no, is Jeff the colorist?
Jeff is the inker.
Inker.
The inker sometimes colors. And Joe's a
Okay.
full-time police officer.
Okay. Here's some more pages.
And I have 3 other police officers contributing art to the book.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I know we just did the Relentless Tin Soldier, and and Nicholas Gere, he's a police officer, and he's the creator and writer of that book.
Oh, well, we're going to have to trade books.
Oh, definitely. I'll I'll show you some images, and I'll send you a book.
Great.
Yep, where that should be coming from the printer soon. Campaign just finished. But yeah, definitely. Looking through some more of this riot going on.
That's the mayor there in the bottom
Oh,
panel.
okay,
Uh,
that's cool.
Valeria and her partner Bob are assigned to guard the mayor while the riots break out. He's trying to address the rioters at the beginning of the story,
Oh yeah,
and things don't go as planned, and so
no.
they're forced to go on the run with the mayor while being chased by hordes of hooligans.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah,
you'll recognize some of these groups. We don't name any of these groups, but
sure.
the I think that I nailed it. I mean, when you see these confrontations, you're going to say, that's exactly what I thought they would say.
Oh wow. Yeah, and then you have multiple covers, right? This is one of them.
Yes, that's Butch Geiss's cover.
Okay. And then
Sergio Cariello.
that one's really cool too. That one's a great depiction. And some more pages here. Stretch goals. Bigger book. Shield patch. Trading cards. Oh, that'll be cool. Some great extras. More of the artwork. Are some of these posters or are these all panels?
Those are all panels.
Okay. Okay, and then you have. All right. Well, this is looking, really amazing. I'm glad somebody, did this project, and just to, all right, bring us back. Yeah. So everybody, click the link. Oh, let's see who we got. Oh, here's J.S. Earls.
I was just on a show with Jeff,
Yeah.
with Sergio Cariello, who does one of the covers for Thin Blue Line.
Yeah, we're working on J.S. Earls' book, which is kind of
Pistol
like,
Fist?
no, we're working on the Sorrow. So it's kind of like the Spectre, and they're different short stories on him, on these different slice of life things that he's like this avenging spirit that comes in these different situations. So it's pretty cool. Fortunate to be working on that with him. Um, Sean Davis says, "Hey."
Hey, Sean.
He's the creator of Pillowman and Blanket Boy. And the prince said, "Are autographed editions still available on IndieGoGo? I was
Oh, yeah,
planning a
sure.
Friday order for it."
Yes, Prince. Yes.
Okay, and that's how long is that going? How much longer do we have on that?
I think we have 18 days left in the
18 days. Okay,
campaign.
so there's time. Um, Hyper Potato said, "Lady Cop sighting."
The Hyper Potato has many eyes.
Let's see what it did Baron and Rude have any say in the sale of Nexus and Badger to First?
Yes, we did.
Okay, but Nexus is yours now.
Yes.
Your guys now, but
Yes.
Badger is
Still
still
owned
with.
by First
Okay,
Comics.
okay. Well, that's really cool. We have a mini series, which is a major crossover with 10 different companies and all our title characters in a big, kind of end game event. And if you ever want Nexus to make a big appearance, we can always make that happen. We have about 40 different characters from other publishers, all indies. So that would be
Yeah,
really cool.
I've seen those before.
Yeah. Yep. So issue 2 is being worked on. It's going to be about a 4-issue run on a big, uh, big event. So issue 1's already out. Issue 2.
Is Dave Ryan involved?
I don't think so. I don't
Because
think so. It's under Starcross. It's under ours.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yep. But yeah, that's cool. I mean, I get excited to know that Nexus is a true, you know, independently owned character, because there's so many characters that have been created over the years and they're owned by, the corporate publisher. But it's really cool to know that you guys own Nexus. I mean, it's just neat to me,
It is neat.
Yeah.
And we're free to do it with other publishers too. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah.
this.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
Wow.
Richard Meyer published this,
Oh, wow.
and
Now,
it's the
is that
first of
out?
3 issues. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, you
out.
have it, but you could have a that's awesome.
No, it's out, but you can only
Uh,
get it
okay.
from me, or if you did an add-on for Monster
Wow.
Hunt 2, Let's Get Cracking.
Yeah.
It's an add-on there too, and I have
Oh,
a bunch of
nice.
copies. If anybody's
Nice.
interested,
Well,
drop me a
and
line.
if there's anything we can do, we do about a campaign a month. Sometimes we've done 3 campaigns a month. So, there's anything we can do to either include something with yours or help out in any way, just let us know.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah. Um, and let's see, we're about at that half hour mark, and I promised you that I would get you out in a half hour. So,
I don't want to bore anyone.
no, I think this was really key information. You have
This is Potato. You can reach me through Twitter. I'm at Bloody Red Baron on Twitter. Just drop me a line on Twitter.
there you
And
go.
also, if you're on Facebook, sign up for the Comics and Novels of Mike Baron, which is a Facebook page.
Okay. Yeah, if you send me any of those, I'll post those. Let me see. Let's see. I think we lost Mike, but I wanted to get your guys' comments. Oh, there's Mike. Okay.
Sorry about
He's
that.
back. He's back. I thought it was something I did.
No, I hit the wrong button. Here
No
we go.
problem. All right, we're going to get those links up there for people who want to know. Okay. Let's post that. Okay, there's the Twitter. Okay, and Facebook, Mike Barron. Yep. Oh, and here, Facebook, the comics. Okay, so we'll put that in there.
Thanks, Alan.
Let's see here. Comments. All right, perfect. Yeah, I mean, you're just a wealth of knowledge from all your experience, and you're still working on projects now, and you have more in the works.
And
So
I'm 105 years old.
yeah, there you go.
Because one of the bright spots in my life is I believe I'm getting better as a writer every day, and I'm more excited about my projects.
There you go. Just look at even just look at Biden. Anyone can be president, so it doesn't matter how old you are.
Let's go, Brandon.
Well, I look forward to this project and your upcoming projects and everything you're doing, and all the knowledge you can give people that are working on books now, and just to show what can be achieved, and all your work and all your current work. It's just great. So everybody go check out Mike's stuff. Go check out his Thin Blue Line that's running live now, and go to his Facebook page and check out all of his stuff that's coming up and all the stuff you can buy that's currently out. Thanks again, Mike.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. Take care.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, guys. Thanks for checking out today's broadcast. Everybody go check out Mike's stuff, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.